Welcome to Super Talk Outdoors from the Foundation Studio right here on Biloxi's Back Bay, where we celebrate every single Monday at lunchtime the world-class outdoors of the state of Mississippi because, as I say every week, we are the capital of the outdoors in America. I want to thank you for joining us on the powerful Super Talk Mississippi Radio Network or on Super Talk TV at C Spire TV. But some of you watch the show on YouTube or Facebook or on your favorite podcast. With that said, it's December the 4th, 2023. I especially want to thank the title sponsor of Super Talk Outdoors, the Foundation. Of course, the formal name is the Foundation for Mississippi Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. They're the only foundation that directly supports the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. And we are very, very happy to have them. And more recently, they also added the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources here on the coast. So they're hitting on a lot of cylinders, a great group of volunteer leaders, and they are very, very focused on making sure that we protect our wildlife legacy here in Mississippi. By the way, the views on this show are mine, not those of the foundation. When it comes to the outdoors and outdoors issues, you can count on me to say what needs to be said. Hey, listen, we're going to talk about ducks and sporting clay, but mostly about ducks today. I actually looked over and saw my Ducks Unlimited hat that I've got sitting here next to me. They're doing great work to help protect the duck hunting and all across the Mississippi Flyway. But I am thrilled to introduce my new friend, someone I had the opportunity to visit with a little bit before we started the show. But Bo Prestage, you're going to get to know more about him here in just a second. He's very committed to giving back to the community. He's a farmer. He's a longtime duck hunter. Great. He's got so many stories to tell. He's been featured on TNN Outdoors, Remington Outdoors, Primos, ESPN, Mossy Oaks, Hunting the Country. You know the story, but I'm looking forward to telling his story. How you doing, Bo?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great too, my friend. Where are you sitting right now?
I'm just sitting here in my house in the living room trying to be comfortable.
Good for you. And that's Schlater? Are you in Schlater?
Well, actually, I live out in the country on the farm. I farm a little over 5,000 acres, and I live out in the country between Slater and Itabena. And it's actually pronounced Slaughter, but it's spelled Slater. So it confuses people.
Every time, as you know, you and I chat a little bit about the Dunn family, and they're all really close friends. I have at least a bunch of land from them. But every time I say Schlater, they say Schlatter. They can't, for whatever reason, I can't get that in my head. But eventually I get it. I'll get it tuned in. But man, you came here in 1981, and boy, a lot's happened since you landed in the Mississippi Delta, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, I've really been blessed by God. A lot of things have happened. We came here, small farmers, farming my granddad's land. He came here in the early 1900s, full-blooded Sicilian, named Raphael Limbo. I'm named after him. My name's Ralph Limbo Prestage, and I'm actually farming land that he farmed and more, and just really blessed to even be here.
Yeah, that's really cool. You came over from Arkansas. Is that where you grew up?
We came up in Northeast Arkansas. My dad was from there. He went to school at I guess I don't know if back then it would have been Mississippi A&M or Mississippi College. I don't know. And my mother went to MSCW. Both of them went to those two colleges, and they met, and that's how that transpired. And she moved to Arkansas, but she was originally from Itabena. And when I was young, I moved here, and I think the fall of 1980, and started farming in 1981. And my wife and I and Janet, and we've just been going ever since.
Wow, that's cool. What's cool about your story is that you developed early on a major commercial duck operation. You don't have it anymore. You take a different approach to duck hunting these days, and we'll get to that here in just a second. But you got into that arena big time, didn't you?
Big time. And it all happened just by accident. We were trying to look for a way to diversify our income in the fall and use the land that we were farming, maybe take it to another level. And I thought, I had a friend named Billy Bryant. We were going to just take a couple of groups apiece. In 1994, did a couple of shows, to promote my business, Wildlife Incorporated. And what I didn't realize was how fast word of mouth travels. So we had some customers named the Wilsons from Montgomery, Alabama, came over, had an unbelievable hunt. And before the season was even over, we were taking people every day. And they were just staying in lodges. And man, the word got out, and I was just getting bombed by people. And we hit it perfect. We hit it perfect. Back then, we had a lot of ducks. The farming was different. The ecosystem was different. And it was just amazing at where it went to on its own. It was just like a driven force. All we did was we just kept staying with it as it was growing.
So you were doing flooded timber and rice fields and bean fields and breaks. You were kind of doing it all, huh?
Oh yeah, we were doing it all, and we thought, well, we'll just take these two groups and that'll be fine. Well, it just exploded, and the next thing I knew, maybe in '94, Will Primos was trying to start a new video called Whistling Wings, and he heard about us. I had met Will before at some different events and things like that, and he was a friend of mine. But he called me up, says, "Look, can we come up there and film?" I said, "Oh, yes, sir, great." He said, "Look, we're looking for a place to take like Mississippi Outdoors. Like they brought Sam Polis, Jim Walker, James Cummins with Wildlife Mississippi, and they brought them over. And that's the first time I'd met them. And we went to a field. They actually had 4 hunters, 4 shooters, killed the limit in about 30 minutes, all mallards. It was just unbelievable. And we were sitting there with extra people, and all of them, Will goes, like, can we do another show? I said, well, yeah. He said, let's turn this thing just a little bit. We changed angles, did another show, sent 4 other people out there that they had, changed some cameramen around, and it just went ballistic. And what really kicked it off, Will called me up. He said, Bo, I've got the most unbelievable show you wouldn't believe. And I said, yes, sir. He said, it needs to go on TV. Well, at the same time, Mossy Oak was starting their TV show, TNN, on the country. He says, can you sign off and let me have this? Because he was big with Mossy Oak. And I said, sure. And he sent it over. They put it on TV. And from there was history. It just exploded.
It's a great story, actually, of how Cuz Strickland and Will got to know each other. Of course, Cuz goes on the Mossy Oaks way. Will develops his own company along the way. It's amazing when you consider that these two companies, Primos and Mossy Oak, are Mississippi companies. I often refer to them as ambassadors to the rest of the world because, Lord, have mercy, they've been incredible ambassadors. But see, what was interesting about when you were doing this in the mid-1990s, I'm a foreign media executive, incidentally, so I know the evolution quite well. What was happening is that cable TV was really beginning to explode in a big way. And when you think about what Hunting the Country was doing on TNN, and then what evolved with Primos Outdoors along the way, to have been on either one of those shows, and then the others that emerged around it, you were touching a lot of people, weren't you?
It was just happening, and it was just, I was very lucky. And let me tell you, both Mossy Oak and Primos, I'm hung to them. I mean, I believe in them like everything, and I believe in Mississippi. I'm a big Mississippi guy. It doesn't matter where I go in the world, where I travel, what I do, Mississippi is home. No place is better than Mississippi. And we got the 2 leading industries and outdoor apparel from Mossy Oak. They're number 1. And they've branched off into other things. Will Primos built an empire in game calls. Both of them are just great people. And not only that, they're great people. You take Toxie Hayes, Bill Sugg, Cuz Strickland. You take Will Primos, Jimmy Primos. Those guys are great. And they knew how to build that business. I was just fortunate that I was there. I had a resource that was usable, and they gave me an opportunity, and I just exploded because from being on all their videos, all the Whistling Wing videos, being on TNN, Remington, ESPN, Suzuki Outdoors, North American Whitetail, all those shows, you can just keep going. And I can't even tell you how many writers they brought in and how many different companies. And I mean, I remember they were bringing Polaris in, and for 5 years in a row, every commercial you saw on TV with the Polaris ranger came from right here at this lodge in the outdoors, through the water, through all that. So, and it just started that way, and it just exploded.
It's an amazing story. It's an amazing story. And we'll get to more about the evolution. How many customers in the heyday was Bo serving? It's a great story, but the story is rooted in Mississippi being the capital of the outdoors, and we're going to talk more about that as we go forward. We'll see you after this break and continue our conversation with farmer and hunter and someone who gives back to the community, Bo Prestage. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to SuperTalk Outdoors. I really appreciate you joining us, coming to you from the Foundation Studio. I have my new friend, Ralph Bo Prestage. He's a farmer in Slaughter, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And he lives in between Slaughter and Itabena. That's where he's coming to us today. But farms over 5,000 acres. But when we went to break, we were talking about how when he came here in 1981, he started farming in Mississippi in a big way. And over time, though, he started to develop a way to diversify his income by, in the fall, getting big time into duck hunting. He connected with some really important people along the way. He mentioned several names. Jim Walker, I knew him growing up here on the coast. I think that James, you mentioned James from Wildlife Mississippi.
Yeah, James Cummings. Yep.
James Cummings, one of my dearest friends, and one of the smartest guys I know when it comes to the North American wildlife model. What I've learned about why it's important for us to continue supporting and all of our game management should be within the guise of the North American wildlife model. I learned from James. What a terrific guy. Sam Polis's long history at the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. You cannot argue with anybody when you start mentioning names like Toxie Hayes and Will Primos. But once you started getting on TV, things really started to explode in your business. So it continued to grow. How many people did you have here during duck hunting season when your operation was at its peak?
So like a number, we would run about 600 people a year in 60 days. And we would do 3-day hunts. And we had a staff, a complete staff. Cooks, helpers, guides, lodging. Our lodge complex is around 16,000 square feet. So we just handled the whole thing. They could come here, they could sleep, stay, play, and enjoy themselves and completely just chill out and recreate. And had the best cook in the world. I had the same cook for 24 years.
Wow. That's
her name
incredible.
was Minnie. They loved her. When they came here, they got the same old food, the Southern style cooking in the morning. We got the pork chops and the sausage and the bacon and the grits and the homemade biscuits and scrambled eggs and anything you can think of, pancakes. And people just came here and, man, they looked just as forward to the food as they did the hunting. I mean, it was just all came up total package.
It's interesting. You think about that number, 600 people in 2 months. That's a major league operation. But what's cool about it is that a lot of these people, they came back every single year, and then their sons came back every single year, and then their grandsons came back. You literally developed that 600 folks as part of your family, didn't you?
It was part of my family. And these people would call me all year and check on me. And you just don't realize how attached you get to people like that because, 85% of my lodge, the biggest part of it was people that had hunted with me anywhere from 16 to 22 years when I decided to, change it and take it into a different category. And that was, I don't know these people every year. It was unreal, the relationship you build with them, and you do other things with them.
So we won't get too far into this because I want to actually get back to the duck hunting, but you actually took it from this large, incredible economic impact type of hunting, commercial duck hunting operation where you, again, serve 600 people in 2 months. That's amazing. To more of a membership approach. I bet that was hard to say goodbye to a lot of those friends.
You have no idea. I almost put you into depression, because I thought I'll call the very first people that hunted with me that were still hunting with me after 22 years. And I thought I'll call. And the first 7 people I called took the 10 memberships. And I thought, uh-oh, what am I going to do now? Because all these other people had hunted with me forever. I mean, I still hadn't got past the people that had hunted with me for 22 years. And
Wow.
I had to call people, and it was hard. It was real emotionally, and it was real hard to talk to people about what I was trying to do, and they understood, because the reason I was taking it down was because I saw a decline in the numbers, and I knew I could handle the memberships and still develop and have a quality operation. But to run those numbers was not going to be good, because it was not going to be the support of the waterfowl and the habitat there to do that. And I did not want to do that, because I felt like that would be deceiving people. Did not want to be a part of that.
Yeah, a lot of changes happened during that time. A lot of it related to habitat, as you well know. Just some weather pattern changes and whatever. We're not here to try to analyze all that, but the reality is it did change. And I can't imagine, I came to know the first 2 or 3 times that I went hunting in the Mississippi Delta, it was actually in the 1990s, when someone said, okay, I came from the coast, so if you had 5 or 6 flights of ducks, I was thrilled to death, man. And we had some, light in our decoys. We were thrilled by that. But our friends would tell us, this is not ducks. Ducks is when you got thousands of ducks. You can still make great duck hunts. I know you can. But the reality is, back in those days, you never seen so many ducks. And that's what you had, isn't it?
It was unreal. I'll tell you a real quick story. It won't take but just a few minutes. But I'll never forget when I first started. I'd been in business a few years. And back then, I was having to put groups together because I was trying to fill my lodge. And I had 2 gentlemen that were older from Georgia in their early 60s. And I had 2 young guys from Alabama in their 30s. They booked. I took them hunting. I was guiding myself. And before daylight, what I would tell you, it was like a tornado of ducks coming in. They were so high, you could just hear them, but you couldn't see them in the dark. And they were swirling, and they were coming down in front of us. And, man, these young boys from Alabama looked like werewolves. Fangs were coming out. Man, they were so excited. And ducks were just bombing us like crazy by the thousands. And these 2 guys from Alabama were sitting there, from Georgia, the older guys. And right when it got ready time, these guys were like, when can we shoot? I said, well, we got 3 minutes, Then they said, when can we shoot? We got 2 minutes and 45 seconds. You got 2 minutes and a half. So, and when it got just about time, these 2 guys from Georgia, the older guys said, if y'all shoot, I'm going to whoop everybody in this blind. And those young guys from Alabama, we paid. And I said, look, don't shoot. I could see in those guys' eyes, they were seeing something that they knew was special. They had never seen in their life. The kids did not know this. The young guys didn't know this. They're my age. They were young. I said, just wait. Well, if we don't get our limit, I said, you'll get your limit. I promise you. Just hold on. And so we're sitting there, and the ducks just coming in. It was getting daylight, and those guys from Georgia were just absorbing. It was past shooting time. And the guys from Georgia said, look, if y'all feel like y'all need to shoot, we're not going to shoot. Y'all just shoot. And I thought, oh, my goodness, there's thousands and thousands of ducks in front of us on the water. And they were everywhere. And it was like, and the guys, I said, if y'all want to shoot, I thought, please, God, don't let them shoot over the limit. Y'all be careful and just get up and pick you a couple out, because you're going to kill more than one and shoot. And they got up and they emptied their guns, just boom, boom, boom. And I just fell out laughing. They only killed 1 duck. And those guys from Georgia were laughing at them. And that guy from Georgia told him, he said, let me tell y'all something. What y'all just saw, you'll never see again in your lifetime. I've been hunting ducks in Arkansas all my life. I've been hunting everywhere all my life. And this is the only time I've seen what I've heard about, a true tornado of ducks coming in. And I'll never forget that. And the sad part of that story is that year, that guy booked. He said, look, I want to book every weekend next year all the way, the man from Georgia. He never called. I was laughing, telling my wife the story. I'm going to get through here real quick. And he says, I'm going to be calling you. I said, well, look, don't pay me. He wanted to pay me right then. I said, no, don't pay me. He said, I said, call me after July the 4th. I'm busy. Well, I thought he'd call me on July the 4th because he didn't call me 10 times. July 4th, he didn't call. 5th, 6th, about 10th, 11th, 12th. I asked my wife, I said, did that guy from Georgia call? She said, no. I waited about another week. I had his number. I called. Phone rang. This lady answered the phone. And I told her who I was. She said, let me tell you something. All I want you to know is this. My husband loved duck hunting more than anything, and he's passed away. Oh. Man, I did not know what to say, but you fulfilled his life. Everybody in Georgia knows about Wildlife Incorporated and what you did and what he experienced. and you fulfilled his life, what he wanted to see. And I want to thank you. And she wrote me the most unbelievable letter. I don't know where it's at. I have to find it. I feel sure my wife's got it in there somewhere, but it was unbelievable. And even called back again. You know, that lets you know that if for no other reason at all, it was headed in the right direction. It was affecting people's lives in the right direction.
It's, really, you think about it, Bo, there's literally no telling the ripple effect of the hunting experiences that you provided to people, how it affected their lives. That's, I think of that as legacy. You will never know how many young people were connected to hunting, were connected to the outdoors because of the experience that you gave them. And probably there's nothing better to see a father and a son, or maybe even a grandfather, a son, and a grandson all together in a hunting blind. You've seen all that more times than you can count, I bet.
Oh, it's unreal, and it is. And to see these families come, the sons come, the next thing you know, they're bringing their little 5-year-old grandsons. And I mean, we had times that we would book family groups and we'd have all the children and do special events for them and everything. And it just, yeah, you're right. I never really thought about how I affected people until it was over and I started getting letters.
Hey, when we come back on the other side, we'll pick it up from right there as we continue this incredible story of Bo Prestage and his time in the Mississippi Delta. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to SuperTalk Outdoors. I'm really enjoying my conversation with Bo Prestage. He's somebody we'll have back on the show. We're actually going to shift gears here in just a second and talk about his sporting clay business and how he got into it. But before we do that, just if you just think about where you are today, you're able to. You've got some pristine hunting situations. You're able to pump water. What kind of season do you think you're going to have this year, Bo?
Well, I feel like we can be okay. I wish we had more water. I've never seen it this dry in the Mississippi Delta in my life, maybe anywhere in my life. And we've been pumping for around 3 weeks, and that's pretty costly when you got 9 wells going. And it makes a lot of difference because if you don't have water, you're sure not going to have ducks. So we're lucky that we can pump up 90% of our hunting because like you say, we do hunt breaks and timber and stuff like that. Yet you have some natural rainfall. You have to have that, but we've got everything else pumped up. And we're having to actually recharge some of those fields. When I say that, we're having to repump some of them again because they're going down with no water. It's crazy.
Yeah, you're filling the water table is what you're doing, man. But you can literally hear the sucking sound as the land just brings it in. So far, how have you guys done?
We have not hunted. We don't start till next weekend. We do that every year, and we do that by choice of members because they don't overhunt, they underhunt, and they'd rather pay and have a quality place and underhunt and have a great opportunity at ducks. And that's what we do. We probably for hunters and situations, we have as much success as anybody in the country, anywhere. But we're not overhunted and we're underhunted. And that's what you have to do. And we do that. And they realize that and they listen to my management talks about this. So they show up. They don't hunt as much, but when they show up, there's about a 90-something% chance they're going to have a quality hunt and they enjoy the heck out of it.
Are your members deer hunting also?
Some are. We let the young boys deer hunt. Let the young boys deer hunt because it's all about the children. And so we got places for them to deer hunt and they enjoy that. And then in the afternoon, and if they don't want to do that, we take them up to our new sport and clay range that you talked about, and they love to go up there and shoot. So we kind of, keep them entertained in the afternoons.
Well, what was interesting at the height of your commercial operation before you went to a member scenario, when you had over 600 people that you were serving in a 2-month period, one of the things you guys got into was sporting clay in the afternoons. It just became a natural offshoot. So give me a sense of how many clays you were shooting during that time.
So it's kind of a number of people wouldn't hardly even believe, but we would shoot over 50,000 clays in 60 days. And we built right here by our lodge over the water, a beautiful, like a duck flush type operation, sporting clay. And we'd take 24 to 28 people out there in the afternoon and we'd start shooting somewhere around 2:30. We'd shoot all the way to dark, playing games. And these people just loved it. And I saw the love that people had for these sporting clays. Every day when we would hunt that morning and we would have success, a lot of times we'd have a limit in the morning because I did not duck hunt in the afternoons. I let all the hoes rest. I would not duck hunt twice a day under no conditions, only in the mornings, good or bad. and then we'd shoot sporting clays, and they absolutely loved it. And that's what got my mind churning. And I thought, well, maybe I can do something to give back.
And so you did actually. You created Beulah Land Sporting, and you've done well with the Blair Bats and Candle Lighters and other organizations. You've got Catch a Dream that's about to come, and we'll talk about that quickly. But why don't you tell me first about Beulah Land Sporting? What's that all about?
Well, Beulah Land Sporting is something I did in the legacy that I want it to be, and I want it to be even there way after I'm gone. I've told people, they said, Bo, what's your vision with this? I said, my vision is I want to build it. I want to make it work. I want to make it be self-sustained. But the main thing is for children. We raise money for Blair Bats. We raise money for Catch a Dream. We raise money for Delta Streets. We do things to help children. And all the local children that have sporting clays, which is the number one growing sport in the nation, all these schools, they come and they shoot with us. And I want the legacy to be for it to help children. And even when I'm dead and gone, I want it to be a big enough deal that somebody keeps this going, raising money to help children that are in need.
Well, speaking of helping children that are in need, what you've done as it relates to Catch a Dream that's coming up in actually next year in March, that's significant. I mean, Catch a Dream has a chance to connect to a lot of organizations, but they picked you. Tell me about that.
I was just fortunate, I know a lot of people there, and they just looked at a lot of different organizations and things, and we talked, and I offered them something there that they thought was special, and Catch a Dream chose me. I mean, they could have gone anywhere in the United States now. They're huge, and they chose right here, Mississippi, right here, home based, and we're going to start doing an event for them every year, hopefully, and it's going to be big. I mean, they're advertising it right now, so and people from not only all over the Southeast United States, could very easily have some people from all over the United States and the other countries to come in, because it's a big deal supporting these children for Catch a Dream.
Beulah Land Sporting, is it actually up in the hills?
It is. It's right in the edge of the hills in Carroll County. It's on 300 acres. We have 15 stations right now. We have a beautiful 5-stand. We have skeet and trap. Our lodge is a little over 8,000 square feet. And it's just a complete venue type deal, because we do birthday parties, we do family reunions, we've done weddings. We're looking to host any kind of events that people can come up with. And we have membership, Sport and Clay, that for like family and corporate. And we just do anything we can that satisfies the people out there.
I've been to a couple of events recently at venues sort of like yours, or maybe exactly like yours. And I forgot how popular, this, in fact, I would say it's gotten more popular, this whole notion of sporting clay, and with the stations along the way, how they run very successful fundraisers off of these kind of operations. But it's getting more popular, isn't it?
Oh, it's growing. It's the number one growing sport in the nation right now, because these children are loving it. It gives them something to do. A lot of children, it fits their category. They come out, they shoot, they enjoy it. We start a lot of children. We help them. We train them. We got people that do that. And our course is really unique. Nothing compares to it, because it's 2.5 miles long on just 15 stations. So you have to ride it. And we're in the topography we're in the woods, we're in the rolling hills. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And we've had some of the best comments. We have some of the best shooters in the world. I've had the number 1 and the number 2 shooter women in the world out there. I've had other people that travel and have shot all over the world. And I just get nothing but great feedback, and they're coming back. So something's right.
Yeah, actually, I remember the last time that I went to a fundraiser, it was Will Primos was in the group. He had an over-under, and he wasn't playing. He was serious.
Will shot there. Will loves it, man. He's a great friend, checks on me all the time. He's a big shooter, and he'll shoot. A lot of times he'll shoot side by side. He likes that old stuff. Will's that kind of guy, neat, and he's salt of the earth, and he's been there a lot of times, and I look for him to come back every time we have an event. If he's able to be there to support, Will is there 100% of the time.
I love that about him. That is for sure. It sounds like a special place. And of course, I had at least a farm until last year when we had a chance to upgrade, but 500 acres was actually in the hills in Carroll County. And it can get hilly. I bet it is. I bet it's treacherous if you tried to walk it.
Oh yeah, yeah. You couldn't walk this course. You ride this course. You know, it's pretty neat. And the funniest thing about it is a lot of people that come in. Some people get it. Some people won't. I had a guy this last shooting. He said, it's a beautiful name, Butylland Sporting. He said, what is that? I don't get it. And I said, it's biblical. He said, what do you mean? I said, it's the promised land. I said, this whole thing to me is just something that I hope keeps going and going and going, raising money. And if it does that, then that means we've done the right thing, because God has been very good to me. And all I want to do is have an opportunity to give back to something that can help children that I see need that.
Bo, I talk about this all the time on the show, but I mean, the legacy that we're leaving has to involve our kids. And what better way to teach kids responsibility and accountability, and to take them hunting, to take them out in the outdoors, or take them to a sporting clay venue like you're talking about, and teaching them the right way to handle a gun. You don't usually get a second chance. You can't make a mistake. But the life lessons that you're teaching these kids that will affect every part of their life from now on is substantial, isn't it?
Oh, it's great. I mean, you can't understand how important it is, because so many people, their parents want to get them involved in something, but they don't know what to do. And they come out there and we take them like they're our own, because I not only have, my son-in-law helps me with it, Jace Hamilton. My wife takes care of everything on the books. I take care of stuff. I'm out there personally. Two of the most important factors I got out there is a guy named James Wilson and Archie Goodwin. These are guys that are retired. And if without them, it's impossible, man. These guys are unreal. I think they have as much love for Butylland Sporting, James and Archie, both of them, as I do. And, when you see that, and people have that passion and they know what it's about, everybody becomes a part of it. And I've got grandchildren that are shooting out there. He busted his first clay out there at 6 years old. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
It is a labor of love. You have to have a passion for it. And it sounds like you got two wonderful men that are aligned with you on this, and that's a great part of the story. Well, listen, we're out of time, Bo, but it's been a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend. What a great contribution you've had to helping proclaim to the world through the shows that you've been part of, et cetera, that Mississippi is the capital of the outdoors in America. And I know you agree with me. I certainly going to say that every single week. But it's been a pleasure, my friend. Have a great day.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you for having me.
When we come back, my friend Nicole Smith is going to talk to us about what's going on at the museum during the winter. We'll see you after this.